Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Manda and Mom. As you can see, it's just me. I thought today that I would make for you some of my favorite childhood foods. All three of them we actually had for breakfast. Not that they have to be had for breakfast. You could have them anytime you wanted. The first one needs some cornmeal, but I'm not making cornbread. The recipe is actually still on the back, which I'm surprised. We are going to make cornmeal mush, but that's not the end product. It's 4 cups of water, so this is the last 2 cups of water. This is a liquid measuring cup that you've measured liquid in, and these are for dry ingredients. Don't get them mixed up, especially if you're baking. Okay, I got that in the pot, and it says we're gonna put in some salt. And I'm not gonna measure out a teaspoon of salt. I'm just gonna put some salt in it. If I want more salt in it, I'll put more salt in it in the end. And it's 1 cup. One thing that's really important, your first tip for this, add it into cold water. Don't add it into hot water because it'll clump up and it gets all licky. So I'm gonna have to get the dry measure cup for this. Okay, have the pot in some water in there. I have 1 cup dry measuring cup for the cup of cornmeal. It's sort of like grits. They're both made from corn, but this is much more finely ground. So I'm gonna I don't think I can hold the phone and the whisk and this, so I do not have the fire on. I'm going to add in a little bit, and I'm going to whisk it around. But then I want to make sure that it's kind of like when you're making chia pudding. You want to make sure that all the pieces get water around them, so that when they start absorbing, they don't stick together and make a mess. And I'm sure you're hearing me whisk, so you know that that's actually what I'm doing. You can buy what the end product is at the store, but this way I get to control the amount of salt, and before I decide to make it into our breakfast product, I can use the cornmeal for all kinds of things. Okay, so I'm going to turn you around for just a second. You can see the cornmeal in the bottom. So now I'm going to turn the heat on for the gas stove. Don't look at my dirty stove. Somebody else cooked and didn't clean up. I'm going to continue stirring. You can mix the cornmeal with 1 cup of water and pour it in, but whichever way you want to do it. It is on high on boil, and sometimes there's a little dark. He says, "Can we get that one out of there?" Okay. Because it'll get thick on the bottom, and you want it all to get thick together. You don't want it to burn. So I do have it on high, but my pan is so hot, my stove cooks so hot, that I am going to turn it down. And I'm going to stir this until it boils. Next it says to cover it tight. I've turned it down to low. It's only going to cook for 5 minutes. We'll be back. Okay. I cooked it for a little over 5 minutes. I really kind of wanted it kind of thick. And it actually has gotten thick, and it has cracked on top. So I will show you. It is yellow, yellow, yellow. Just get a little bit of a film on top, but it's still really soupy. I hope that when it cools off that it will be thicker, but I'm gonna put this in my bowl and be right back. Now, you could eat it just like this. It's plain and hot, but not much flavor to it. It's kind of like oatmeal. You can eat it cold. You can eat it hot. I'm gonna add some salt. I should add some Morton seasoning to it, but I'm gonna add some salt. You can add cheese to it. Shrimp and grits. Probably want a thick more coarse ground cornmeal for that kind of grits. You could put sugar in it. I would probably put some butter in this too, but much better with the salt in it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour it in this loaf pan. I'm gonna put it in the fridge, and I'm gonna let it make a cornmeal loaf. It needs butter, and I'll show you what my mom used to make me for breakfast. Have the cornmeal in this container. I'm hoping it'll make it easier to get out. Another cornmeal tip must is you need to have some plastic, and we're just gonna put it over the top, and we're gonna start tucking it down at one side and then continue to tuck it down all the way over so that there's no air. You're gonna try for getting no air underneath there because it will make a film on top. I'll show you. So it looks like this. The plastic's on there. You can see that I've patted it down all the way around so there's no air. I did add some butter and the salt. Makes it really good. So this goes in the refrigerator, and this would be called cornmeal mush. I don't think it matters whether you put sugar on it or salt in it. However you make it, it's called cornmeal mush. This is now cornmeal mush that is in a bread loaf, and we're gonna make some breakfast food with it tomorrow. The next two recipes take bread. So I'm gonna put 2 pieces of toast in the toaster and be back. But in the comments, let me know. Do you like warm bread? Do you like toasted bread so that it's toasty brown? Or do you like almost burnt? Because Manda is the warm bread person. I'm the toasty brown person. And my mom was the, it better be really dry and almost burnt. But let me know in the comments. It's really simple. And if you're Gen X, probably no. It's better than myself because I would like it to be. But I'm just gonna, you have to butter the bread. Yeah, I probably should have softened the butter a little bit more. They're taking it straight out of the refrigerator. But it's not tearing holes in my bread, so, and my bread is nice and golden. But you want to be sure that you get butter all over the bread, because then you're going to sprinkle it with cinnamon and sugar. Please use Ceylon cinnamon. Of course, you can use whatever sugar you want, but for this recipe, I really think the real white granulated sugar works best. And we used to do it, we used to put the cinnamon on first, then put the sugar on, then you'd have one piece of toast, and you tip the toast sideways, and you tap it so that your extra sugar would fall. I'm gonna tap it a little bit because it's got too much right there. Cinnamon sugar toast. If you haven't had any, you really should. It goes really good with less milk. I'll be back with the other recipe as soon as I finish this. So this is the cornmeal, or cornmeal mush. And we put the plastic on it so that it wouldn't get that filmy on the top. I have my cutting board. I did put in this. I'm hoping it comes out really easy. Look at that. Come out really easy. See, I knew it was a little too wet. It's got, see, CPs in there, but we'll see if we can handle it. Just need a knife, and then you're gonna cut it in slices just like you would a loaf of bread. This is a loaf of cornmeal. Thick, thin, whatever you like. And we're going to put them in a hot skillet with oil. We're going to fry them, and they're gonna get nice and golden and crispy. So I will get, it's good though, need some salt. And get the skillet ready, be right back. I've already turned the pan down to medium. If you remember, my stove cooks really, really hot. And you're just gonna take your slices. Now, my mom would use more oil and you fry it like potatoes. You might even need to turn the heat down a little bit more. Like a really quick one. Move this thing along. And I probably need to get the cream. I did add a little, added a little more oil, but it's sticking. Oh no! I'm gonna have to have both hands, and let me see what kind of mess I can make with this. That is what we're looking for. That goldeny, crispy. I don't know about those two. I'm gonna play with the temperature and see if it's better, a little hotter, and I'll be back. This is fried cornmeal mush and a mess. I don't know if my pan was not hot enough before I put it in, or if, I'm trying to still work on the go-to, or if it was wrong oil or something else, but it's going to be crispy on the outside, and on the inside it's going to be nice and soft and mushy. And it's probably pretty hot, but you could put powdered sugar on it, you can put regular sugar on it, you can, maple syrup is a good one, and a country breakfast, or the way my mom would serve it would be this, and then there would be a sausage or bacon or something. This recipe is so easy. Once your kids can make macaroni and cheese, they can make this. Or they could even make this. Come on. I'll be right back. I gotta get a knife. Okay. Cream of mushroom soup. I mean, you could use cream celery, but mushroom or celery. And a can of tuna. We're going to break up the tuna, stir it around. And depending on how many people you're going to feed, that's what our other piece of toast is for. You could almost do 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup because the tuna gets really small. It also spreads the flavor, and another can of mushroom soup would extend this meal. We would have this for breakfast in the morning. Now, I'm only going to do 1 can of cream mushroom soup because that's what I have. But we're going to heat this on the stove. I'm going to turn it off because we all know my stove cooks really hot. And let me grab my toast. Cream tuna, and sorry about the noise. We're going to put it over toast. I just tore mine up because that's what I used to do when I was little. And there's enough on there. See, there's probably enough in there for 2 pieces of bread, maybe even 2 people to eat. And I don't have a fork. Hold on a second. And yes, I'm in my PJs, and it's morning, and we're gonna try a bite. Warm, creamy, excellent taste of tuna. The bread gives a crunch to it and brings back so many memories. And all of these foods are so cheap. Can of cream and mushroom soup, depending on where you get it, could be $1, $2. Can of tuna, again, $1, $2. So I've got $2 in that pot. Bread, depending on what kind of bread you buy. Mine was like $5, but mine's gluten-free. And I know, like, if you get Dave's Crazy Bread, it's like $5 or $6 a loaf. But when you're looking at $2 in the pot, and you're only going to use a piece of bread or 2 pieces of bread, it's not much. Cornmeal mush, I think that whole container was like $2.50, and I only used a cup, and it'll make 6, 8 servings. Cinnamon sugar, once you mix them together, even if you use Ceylon cinnamon, if you mix them together, and most people already have cinnamon sugar in their cabinet, and bread, again, is cheap. So if you're Gen X, you probably know all of these. Let me know in the comments if you've eaten these, if you've heard of them, and what some of your favorites were when you were growing up. And as a bonus video, if you have too much cream of tuna left over, just make you your favorite mac and cheese. I'm making this one. I've had it before. It's actually quite good. I do add some onion and garlic to it, but you're gonna boil it according to the package directions. Be sure after you've added the noodles that you stir a couple of times, because those stick to each other. They'll stick to the bottom of the pan, and you really don't want that. And the trick, when they're done, if you have a veggie, I'm gonna do some peas. We're gonna put that over, and I don't think I can dump this with one hand, so I'll be right back. The hot water, when you've drained your macaroni, go straight down there and let those sit for a little while. And I have already added the powder, and it was 1/4 cup of milk and 2 tablespoons of butter. Added it to the extra tuna, cream of tuna that I had left over, and we're gonna add the noodles. Maybe. See, they're stuck. Get a creamier sauce, lots of flavor, quick, fast tuna noodle casserole. You can eat it just like this. You can add the peas in if you want. You could put breadcrumbs on the top and put it in the oven. Put it in the toaster oven, broil it a little bit if you want. Drain your peas. And you've got a whole nother meal. Oh, you could do a salad instead of the peas. Mix the peas in. You could add mushrooms. Very versatile, cheap eats. I forgot I didn't do a taste test. I'm balancing this on my knees. It's probably hot. It's very creamy. Max staring at me. That's good. Creamy. The cheese just balances the tuna. I don't know why. I almost lost the whole plate. Maybe it's like the piece of cheese on the fish sandwich. I'm not sure. But let me know in the comments, what were some of your favorite foods when you were growing up? Did you know about these? Have you had any of these? Are you going to try any of these? And thank you so much for coming along. As Manda always says, remember, you aren't the magic. And as I always say, remember, you're blessed to be a blessing. We appreciate each and every one of you. We do read all your comments. And see you next time.